Hey everyone, this is Cortexian, and this is going to be my gameplay narration of Rainbow Six Siege. There's a lot to go over, so sit down and get comfy, because I'm going to go over 4 rounds of gameplay. Normally there's 5 rounds in a single match of the hostage rescue game mode that we played, but I'm going to just take you through 1 round of defense and 1 round of attacking on each of the 2 maps that we were able to actually sit down and see. The first map I'm going to show you guys is House, and then later on we're going to move on and check out the plane map. The first thing that happens when you launch into a match of hostage rescue is that you need to select your operator. There's 10 unique operators in the alpha version of the game, and Ubisoft tells me that there's going to be 20 or so in the final release. Every operator has a bunch of individual and unique skills, such as Castle, who sets a bulletproof barricade that's more resistant to damage than standard barricades, and they also have a unique and somewhat customizable loadout. Typically you can customize their primary, secondary weapons, and their primary gadget. Typically though, on the pre-made operators, there's only 1 or 2 gadgets to choose from. I've slowed down the video here so you can see exactly what's customizable in the operator loadout, and you can see that in the recruit loadout, he's kind of a jack of all trades. He doesn't have any specific bonuses, but you can customize him more so than the pre-made operators. After setting up your operator, the next thing you move on to is a map in which you select where you want to spawn. As the defenders, this actually determines where your hostage will be on the map that you're playing, and the room that you'll have to defend the hostage inside of. So choose wisely here and make sure that it's a defendable position. We decided to go with absolutely no vote and just randomly get assigned a location, and that's fine. Otherwise, it takes a majority vote and that's where you'll spawn. Before we progress into any gameplay here, I want to talk about the UI for Rainbow Six Siege. At the very top of the screen, you can see an operator indicator for both your team and the enemy team. This will change and X out dead operators, and it also shows you the individual operator class. Inside of those icons is the round win indicator, so you can see we've won 2 rounds, and the enemy team has won 0. Inside of that is the round countdown timer, as well as the round indicator showing 44 seconds remaining for the fortification phase, and this is currently round 3. Below that stuff, it shows that this is the fortify the area phase of the match, or round, sorry. Essentially, that means that we have 45 seconds to fortify our defenses before the attackers come in and try and murder us all and rescue the hostage. Along the bottom edge of the screen, you can see an armor indicator showing 100 with a little vest icon and a circle around it. This depicts how much armor you have remaining if you've taken rounds to your armor. If you pick up additional armor, that will go up. If you get shot, it will go down. Along the bottom of the screen, you see some rectangular icons. These are all your different skills, and it shows you the number associated with deploying them, or the key, or which button on your mouse to push. It also shows you how many of them you have in your inventory. You can see for the deployable shields, I have 1, and then I have 2 barbed wire in stock. To the right of that, there's a little compass, and to the right of the compass, there's actually a little location thing that shows workshop. That will change depending on where you are on the map, and it's really handy for calling out locations and letting people know on your team where people are or where you are. To the right of that, you can see the stance of your character, so I'm currently standing. That'll change to crouch or prone depending on the position you are in. To the right of that is your weapon indicator and ammo selection indicator. So it shows you which weapon you currently have equipped. I have the MP5 MLI equipped, and it shows that I have 31 rounds in my gun and 269 reserve ammunition. As I start fortifying the defenses here, you can notice that in the bottom right hand corner there was one icon that I skipped over. This icon is directly related to how many wall reinforcements you have in your inventory. You can see in a moment here that this will reduce to 1 and then to 0 after I set up 2 wall barricades. Keep in mind that this is only related to the wall barricades and has no impact on how many doors you can barricade with fortifications. As we actually start playing here, you can see that there's a robot scout from one of the attacking team members. During this setup phase, just prior to the defend the hostage phase, the attackers actually get an opportunity to scout the area and try and find the hostage. I'll cover that later during the defensive stage. You can see here we're essentially just fortifying the area. Our team is getting ready to defend, make sure that the attackers can't get that hostage. We're basically just making sure that this area is super nice and secure. Some of our teammates there kind of locked each other out of this hostage room and they wanted to get back in or at least pass through the area, so they were doing that. Here you can see I dropped down my deployable shield. You can see that one icon in the bottom rectangles of the screen there along the bottom center. Went from 1 to 0. What you can do is pick the shield back up if you want to move it, but you can't deploy more than 1 at a time with this specific operator. It's very possible that in the future Ubisoft will add an operator that can deploy more than 1 of these shields, as that sounds like something that they may want to do with one of their unique operator classes. You can see here the attackers are coming in from the left-hand side of this building. My teammates are kind of telling me that, hey, you know, they're out there, get ready to, you know, defend. So I'm looking for them through this cover, and you can see that they're blowing out little portions of the cover, but not the whole thing at the same time. This is another thing that makes the cover and the fortifications pretty dynamic. Essentially, you can blow out parts of it to see through, and interestingly, they threw a grenade in here. My shield blocks it, but they actually hurt the hostage. Interestingly, you kind of want to make sure that the hostage is alive on your team, otherwise you will lose, and obviously the attackers don't want to kill the hostage either. So, another thing to see there is a grenade came through and blew up my portable shield, so those things do actually take damage. You can see they did some pretty decent damage to that barricade we had on the window, so I decided to drop down my razor wire, which essentially hurts the enemy and slows them down when they move through it. My teammates here are telling me that they're in the boat room across from the hostage rescue room there, so they started shooting through the walls. I kind of put some rounds through the walls there to just kind of keep them pinned down. Yankee here was basically taking a look through on the heartbeat sensor to try and figure out where they were, so he's trying to engage them right now. And on the right here in a moment, you're going to see that there's actually an enemy attacker right there in the window, rappelling up the side, and he just took out my buddy. And my friends basically are now telling me that, you know, he's there. I thought they were talking about the guy in the boat room still, so I'm trying to figure out where they're talking about, and eventually I realize that he's behind this kind of bay window area. So I start just kind of shooting through here. You can see he fired, and basically I take him out right there. Now, I didn't think he was dead, so I jumped out the window to finish him off, but he was dead. And you can see here that if you run out of the basically defensive building as a defender, you are revealed to the enemy team and they know exactly where you are. Meanwhile, my teammates cleaned up the last remaining guy in this room that we dubbed the boat room, and we are victorious because we eliminated all of the attackers. As rounds complete, you get a end of round replay and then move on to the round graph and round report screens. The graph is interesting because it shows you who killed who when during the round, and then the actual report screen shows some typical statistics like kills, deaths, assists, hostage rescues, and etc. Alright, as we move on to our next round here, we're actually moving into the attacker position. So you can see I moved through here and I set up another operator. I'm running a recruit again because I really wanted to try out this shield class, running the ballistic shield with a semi-auto pistol, stun grenade, and a breach charge. So, I set that up and we go and vote for insertion. This is similar to what the defenders do for selecting where they want to spawn with their hostage, but for the attackers, you just pick where outside of the building or object you need to assault is, and essentially it's going to pick an area where you're gonna all spawn outside of the building. Same rules as with the defenders, majority vote wins where you will spawn, unless you decide to go for no vote at all, and then again it'll just pick a random location and that's where your entire team will go and spawn. One thing to note here is you can see in the bottom left, you can see who hasn't voted yet, including who on the enemy team, so you can see if they've actually picked a location specifically, or if possibly no one has voted, then they're going to be in a random location. Once that's done, on the attacker side here, you basically move through and you have 45 seconds to scout the defending defenses, essentially. See what kind of fortifications they have set up and see where the hostage is. You can see we just got a notification that the hostage has been found, so that's really helpful as the attackers to know where the hostage is in the building. If you don't find where they are, it's going to be very difficult for you to actually assault because you have no idea where to go and you have to clear the whole building or object or whatever it is, structure that you're actually in. You can see here I'm placing my robot in a good spot to actually see the hostage room, because if you die as an attacker, you can take over those cameras, and other cameras actually spread around the map to give your team further intelligence. Now, once you take over those things after you're dead, you can't move them around. They're stationary cameras. You can look around, but you can't actually move. So it's good to get them into a nice spot that you can have a good vantage point at, and the defenders likely won't see them. You can see here we're all moving out, and we decided to take a aerial vertical assault strategy here. So you can see I'm demonstrating the rappelling technique here. Meanwhile, the defenders are looking out that window. They did hear us go up, but they didn't actually see us. Now, you can see here, once you get up to the roof and rappel down, you actually rappel upside down and basically walk down the building. And I've got a teammate here. I've got Whiskey with me here, which is a typical gamer. And we're basically moving down here, and we're getting ready to try and coordinate a EMP grenade breach. And you'll be able to see here in a moment to how that works, but first thing we need to do is actually break out this barricade, and the easiest way to do that from our position here is to just basically shoot the barricades out. So you can see basically some shots coming from inside there as our other attackers are trying to go in. Now, Typical Gamer tries to toss a grenade in there, it misses, but he throws another one in. So he tossed it a little bit before I was ready, but the grenade goes off, and then basically I move in, and I swing in, get my shield up, take out a guy in one of the corners there, and then unfortunately we didn't realize this, but there was a guy right on the left corner, kind of prone on the ground, and he killed me, and essentially Typical Gamer was, again, trying to see what was going on from the outside there, but he wasn't able to see that particular angle. Neither was anyone else on our team, and our robots couldn't see that. Now, one thing that was a little confusing there is you can actually see Green Skull come in here with his shotgun playing Sledgehammer, and he gets killed by one of the defenders. However, the defender also killed the hostage, which meant they lost the round. So we take that as a flawless victory. We actually won all 5 of those rounds on house against the press media folks, and took the win and went on to fight the developers. And now it's time for some gameplay on the plane map. These were literally some of our first matches, so please be nice when it comes to criticizing our gameplay here. We're literally just figuring out the game here for the first time, but this is actually some of the only good footage I really have, other than the developer footage, basically on this particular map. So I'm going to walk you guys through this regardless either way here. You can see I'm kind of going through the loadout select here, not really sure what to do. I decided to go GIGN. I kind of go through some of the weapons here, or I'm looking through some of the weapons here. I end up going SAS with an MP5K, a Mac 11, and then basically barbed wire and deployable shield on the recruit class instead of taking one of the pre-made custom operators. So we're going to do that, and in this one we start off as defenders in this particular round. So we're checking out these nice, like, you know, Gucci bags here or whatever they are, and then we decide to go and figure out what's going on. So interestingly, the attackers pretty much found us almost immediately here, and in our kind of panic of trying to destroy those little robots, I actually shot a teammate there. So that's one thing to be aware of, is that, you know, friendly fire does exist in this game. It is important not to shoot your teammates, especially if, for example, you're advancing down a hallway and someone has a ballistic shield and you're kind of crouching behind them. So we're basically kind of, I'm honestly exploring the map right now, trying to figure out what's going on. You know, at this point, you know, we're just trying to figure out what the layout of the entire map is and where to defend and all that. So in hindsight, running this far away from the actual hostage defensive position was not a good idea, and it ended up going almost badly for us, but we turned it around in the very end. So I'm basically kind of just looking around the map here. This is the second of the 3 floors, so I'm kind of on the middle floor right now. Looking around here, you can see the economy seating here, whereas the other stuff earlier was kind of more like, you know, fancy presidential type seating. Up here is basically the top level, and there's little ladders going up and kind of little trap doorways in the floors of that. You can see right here, I actually noticed a scout robot, so I blow that up so they don't have any view. If any of them die, they can't use that robot. And I noticed that this is where our teammate is, so we've started fortifying these walls here, obviously, in this. So I noticed if you walk up to it here, you can basically tear the barricades down. So that's essentially what I do here in a second to get in with my teammates, and you can do that and put barricades back up, because remember, with doorways, you can fortify them and take them down as many times as you want. You have infinite doorway barricades, so I do that, and then I go and put it back up here just so that the attackers can't come in the way I came back in, and there we go. Now I'm in with the rest of my teammates and ready to defend. I decide to fortify this a little more by throwing down some razor wire, and then I decide that this hallway on the other side here probably, you know, should also have some razor wire in it as well, since they can breach in through this area. So we've got that area nice and locked down with door barricades, as well as some fortified walls and some freaking razor wire on the ground. So that's a little bit of overkill there. Now, had I known that you could shoot those cameras out right there, I would have done so, but we were not really aware of that at this point in our trials. So unfortunately, this thing is kind of a cutscene event where you go and drop that shield down. Otherwise, I would have shot that guy, I would have stopped deploying the shield and actually shot the guy that dropped down from the roof there, but unfortunately, like I said, it's kind of like a quick time event, and once you start deploying this mobile shield, you can't stop. So I actually move it down here, pick it back up, and I kind of wanted to place it in a slightly better spot. So here we go. Again, I put it in kind of a bad time here because we just get attacked. But here you can actually see that one of our teammates just got knocked down. He didn't actually die, so I move up and I actually revive him. And he's good to go from this point forward again. He's back in the fight. So now we're being attacked from a couple different areas. I'm kind of, you know, just overwhelmed with everything that's going on right now, being the first time on this map, almost one of the first rounds that we played here, literally the third round we played on this particular map. And just kind of looking around here, they're attacking in from the ceiling there apparently, so you know, I move up and I try and see what's going on. I actually see one there, but he's kind of, I got some hit markers there. You can actually see there's hit markers in the game, which, you know, I'm not too happy about, but I mean, they exist, and it's not too big of a deal, but you can kind of see one of the negatives there where, you know, you shoot through the ground and you can kind of see where the person is just by spraying. Anyway, you get another guy come down here, and he goes down, I take him out, and with only 1 second remaining, the time expires, and we take the win because the attackers did not secure the hostage or wipe us all out. Moving on to the final round, we've got another level of plane here for you guys to see. This time, I take another quick look through the operator options here, and I decide to settle with Sledge this time around. So, as you can see here, if you pick Recruit, there's typically 2 CTUs that you can pick from at this point in time. It looks like there's going to be more in the future, and that's just something that the developers haven't yet implemented. But you can see here, I decided to end up going with Sledge. I wanted to try out one of the custom, or the pre-made operator classes with perks, and Sledge has that really neat sledgehammer that he can run around and basically knock through pretty much any kind of cover with. So, this time around, we actually decided to pick a specific spot to spawn as the attackers, so we decided to go with Zone C. As you can see, it's on the right side of the plane in front of one of the engines. So you'll see here we spawn with our robots initially to go and scout the defending defenses, and I actually jumped my robot onto the top of the plane. I honestly just wanted to see if it was possible, see if the robots were that mobile, and it looks like they actually are. I don't actually recommend doing this ever, because it's basically a huge waste of time to actually get to anywhere useful with the robot from the top of the plane. The only place you can really get to is this back entrance that you guys actually saw us go through earlier, and there's really nothing else up here. So you'll see that we go in and we drop down here in a moment. There we go. This is a little bit of a glitch that I noticed with the robot. You can get on top of the girders up top there. You can see I look up top to see, but you know, like I said earlier, it's a waste of time. There's not enough time to actually do any scouting by the time you drop in there, so unless you happen to see a defender wandering around in that room that you drop into, it's just a huge waste of time. So don't do that, but it's interesting to see that the robots can get up there. I was going to try and, you know, see if the operators could get up there, but obviously they can't. There's no way to jump in the game, so anyway, there's the sledgehammer. I rock right through that barricade there, and we start moving into the building. I've got I believe it's Yankee in front of me here. This is one of our dev team leaders that was kind of showing us the ropes and everything, and he immediately puts down a breach charge on the floor. He's basically showing us that you can blow through pretty much both of the top 2 floors on this map and just see directly down to the bottom. The developers like to call this a line of sight mechanic, where you can see down into the base. I actually just saw a guy down there. I'm taking some shots at him, but didn't actually get any hits, so Yankee is basically telling us that we're going to open up this whole level here so we can see exactly what they're doing. It looks like the hostage is down in that room there. You can kind of see the grab marker on our maps here, so you can see right here. This is actually some footage I used earlier in one of my previous videos, but you can see right here we've got some poison gas coming at us from the defenders there. He's making us cough, making us sputter. You can see the orange cloud of poison gas in front of me there. And I actually tried to toss a RGO grenade down there, but unfortunately it did not work, so it kind of bounced off the metal girders and did not make it down. Anyway, I just got flashbanged there by a teammate who tried to do the same thing, but the flash again launched to the top. So we've got Yankee dropping an incendiary thermite charge there, and we're basically able to jump down here. I jump down, taking a look around. I actually got hit by a friendly EMP grenade there, which it hit me directly and actually took some damage. And anyway, I got team killed there actually, but luckily I'm in the middle of a whole bunch of friendlies, so I get revived. We're back up 4v3 in favor of us. We're basically assaulting this one room right now, trying to funnel through this area here, while we probably should have been trying to basically go through one of those walls there. I'm actually killed by one of the enemies at this point. I got a hit marker though with the grenade I tossed, so I'm being revived right now, but unfortunately it looks like someone had flanked around up top the way we dropped in, and they just annihilated us right there. So as you can see, that's the end of that round. We lost, we got outflanked by the defenders, and we were eliminated. So that's that. You guys can see what's going on here in the score screen. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. There's going to be another gameplay video with developer versus player commentary. So essentially what happened is while we were playing all these games, we built up and destroyed the press media folks, and then our reward was to fight the developers. So stay tuned. I'm going to be uploading that on the channel soon. And thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.